Here? Yeah, yeah, let's get straight to it. I'm right back at you like I never left, and I'm going to go this hard to my last breath. It's Lil Kenny Russell, Kanoom, Consul Moon. You already know what you're going to give me. You step in this room, you're now dealing with Kanoom. Yeah, yeah, I'm here. And while I'm here, I'm going to make the information direct and clear because a lot of y'all can't hear. Yeah, yeah. Now, welcome back to Make My Ancestors Great Again. This is another episode of Ancestor Speak. If you don't know, we do an Ancestor Speak the last Thursday of every month. Okay, so this is part 21. Initially, from the outset, I would try to do one every week, but I said, nah, I'm going to do one every month. So it's the last Thursday of every month. And today is that day. So today we're going to hear from the great esteemed scholar, researcher, author, master teacher, um, brother, father, just a world and wealth of information. In my opinion, um, the world greatest researcher, um, in my opinion, okay, of this generation. And I'll explain more what I mean by that um, once we get into this. So let's hear the intro, the ancestors, and we'll get straight into Ancestor Speak. If you feel like you want to do something for me, like and subscribe because it won't cost you a fee. Let's get into it.
One thing you have to get through your mind and keep it. Nothing that ever came from the European mind was meant to do anything but facilitate European domination of the world. And I said there's no exception.
All right. That's going to fit in very well today because it just so happened to be that is what it is. I got a long hair right here. It's bothering me. That quote just so happened to have facts laced in it. You hear me? Nothing that ever came from the European mind was meant to do anything but facilitate European domination of the world. There's no exception. We're going to find out who created history today, and that was the European. I made I made a well, it wasn't misinformation, but I said something yesterday about the 5 ingredients of history. The 5 ingredients of history is time, people, places, events, and literature. Okay? What that means is real time, real people, real places, causing real things to happen, which is events. And literature means who documented it. You hear me? If no one documented it, a lot of times it's not going to be deemed historical because we can hear about it, but if we cannot find documentation to prove, or if you don't have documentation, archaeology. If they didn't document it, but you got everything here, X, Y, Z, okay, this is happening, we have this, it's still historical, okay? Now, when you have literary history, which is like Little Red Riding Hood, the three little pigs, is that a form of history? Yes. Literary history. Is it real human being historical history that three little pigs, you blow the house down? No. This is where history and literature differentiates, and you have to know something about history to know how they're putting in literary history and making it become human being history. And that's what they did with the Bible. We're going to hear all that from the great ancestor I have on white because we're still in mourning. Well, the people who honor Walter Williams, he died in October. It's coming up on about a year now. We're sharing a video from TAP, Transatlantic Production, which is Clemson Brown, another ancestor. He passed away, so I have on white. That used to be the color of mourning because white was always synonymous with death. When you die, you become white, in a sense, pale, because you lose all your blood and you lose oxygen flow and everything, and your skin becomes pale. So the ancients, in ancient time, they would wear white. Even the Greeks, they did this as well. So when you wear black at a funeral, and black now is associated with death and all this nonsense, like the foolish Moore Science Temple has taught, which is pseudoscience, it's foolishness. They depict black as death, and right up the European alley, he accepts it. So into this country and all the Americans and all across the world, when a person died now, you wear black, that symbolizes death at a funeral. which is nonsensical garbage. So let's hear from the great warrior king. Again, the single-handed greatest researcher in the world of this generation, in my opinion, because a lot of things that the old ancestors would do, long as they found it in the book, they would deem it historical. This gentleman was a outcast of those type of groups, because everything they brought up, he would say, no, that didn't exist. That never happened. You hear me? And anything that this man said, you can go back and trace it for yourself. And I give you a challenge. The names you're going to hear, we're just going to play a 3-minute clip. Go back and see if you can see anything he's saying as a deviation from historical facts. See if you can call him out on anything he's saying, because it's going to sound alien-like, the things he's saying, because you don't know it. Once you dig into what this man's saying, you'll see everything he's saying is right, 100% factual. Let's get into it. This is the great Dr. Walter Williams on Who Created History. Okay, so let's look at that.
Okay, well, the origin, the historical origin.
That was Clemson Brown saying, hey, Walter, what's the historical origins of the term history? The European created history. Let's listen to that.
The subject called history begins with the Europeans during the Renaissance era. But you have to know something prior to the Renaissance era. We're talking about during the time of the middle of the 16th century, which is the Renaissance era, or the second Renaissance era. We had the first Renaissance era, meaning in the 15th century, which is arts and crafts, and you had the second Renaissance that came about during the time of the 16th century. We're talking about a literary Renaissance era. Okay, but now also you have to factor in the school system that the Europeans was beginning to create in Europe at that time. But then let's progress back a little bit prior to the coming of the European school system. You have to go back to one Johannes Gutenberg, who had invented a printing press with movable print.
Look these names up. If you saying that this man is lying, please look these names up, because a lot of people have come out with erroneous things to say about a man, especially after his untimely death. And a lot of people before he died was rejecting all his scholarship, but not one of them was able to prove him wrong or call him a liar on the names and proof that he put forth. You don't have to accept it because you can believe, okay, we're supposed to disregard 2,000 years of literary history because he said so. You can do what you please, but history is best rewarded, is best, history best rewards all research. It's best rewarded. History is, how does it go? It's a saying that Malcolm X used to use a lot. History is best qualified to reward all research. Let's continue.
In 1437. He had no money to continue to finance his endeavor of operating a printing press, along with the fact that during this time, we're talking about the 15th century, because we're talking about 1437, the Europeans throughout Europe could not read or write. There was no school system for the Europeans. So the only people that really could read or write were people who were associated with the Roman Catholic Church monastery school system at that time, which came about at a later date. So what I'm saying is that during this time of Johannes Gutenberg having no money to continue to operate his printing press, and along with the fact that the people of Europe could not read or write, he had to borrow money from another individual by the name of Johannes Fuss. And he borrowed this money.
Look these names up. So far, he's told you about Johannes Gutenberg, who created the printing press with movable print. And this time he's named Johannes Fuss. Look these names up. And any other name that you may hear this man say. And prove him wrong. Let's continue.
Money from Johannes Fuss with a high interest rate, which he couldn't pay back. So Johannes Fuss confiscated his printing press, and thus beginning to do printing, etc., etc. Now, the first thing that was printed in 1475 was the Old Testament Bible for the Christian, or for the Christian community. You see, at this time, the Roman Catholic Church was beginning to build in Rome the Vatican by building St. Peter's Church. They began to build St. Peter's Church in 1445. And from that point on, from 1445 and 181 years later, they were well on the way of establishing the Vatican with other buildings around St. Peter's Church, which is known today as St. Peter's Basilica. They built it over the catacomb.
Okay. Any information that you believe you can refute or dispute, look it up. Wherever he's wrong at, put what's right in his place. You see, if you can do that, then you can call a man a liar. But people just, because they don't believe what he say, you don't have to believe. This is not about belief. This is about facts. Facts are stronger than arguments, more profound than reasoning, more dependable than opinions. Silences disputes, supersede predictions, and facts always end the arguments, if you know the facts, okay? So I want to give honor to the great Walter Williams. I want to give honor to all the ancestors who did this work to try to help deliver us out of the nonsense that the European put us in terms of scholastic literature, in terms of misteaching us, in terms of mistreatment. We were always taught that we were the subculture, subhuman, never brought anything to reality. We never brought anything to civilization. We were uncivilized until the European came and found us in Africa with bones in our mouths and bones in our nose and butt naked and breasts hanging out. I'm here to tell you that all that stuff was a lie. If you're going to debate on which one was that type of person, history would show you best that the European was more of a heathen than any other race on the planet. The European had a period, and you can find this information in the book called Dirt, that the European never took a bath in over 500 to 1,000 years. The European didn't know about soap until the middle of the 16th, 17th century, things like that. AD, you hear me? Up in Greek time, they used to rub oil on their body and just scrape the dirt off their body with a shovel. Look this stuff up. See, I don't have to call names and throw malicious things out there. I'm discussing what I found in history. The European was all those things that he supposed and projected and said that we were. The European didn't bring anything to civilization, because by the time he brought something to civilization, as you know it, the building blocks of it was over. Everything that he thought he could bring to civilization was already put forth. So the European didn't do anything but bastardize. He manipulated. He raped civilization. He took things that didn't belong to him, put his name on it, and built it up and brought it back and sold it to us as new in a European form, and we accepted it. You hear me? That's what the ancestors taught me, and that's why I hold them so near and dear to my heart. Okay? So that's my thoughts on this. I want to, like I say, I want to take my hat off to the ancestors. May their soul rest. May their spirit continue to be lifted. It's Lil Kenny Russell, Kanoom, Consort Moon. You already know what you're going to get when you step in this room. You're now dealing with Kanoom. This is what I do, and I love to do it. And before I take back what I said, I add some more to it. Like, share, subscribe, comment, and I thank you for watching. If you feel like you want to do something for me, like and subscribe, excuse me, because it won't cost you a fee. Education and preparation is the first step to retaliation. So before you pick up a weapon or a silly religion that you know nothing about, pick up some knowledge so that you understand what you're getting yourself into. Okay? That's why in my opinion, I crown this man as the greatest single-handed researcher on the planet. Because this man don't just take what was put forth by European academia. He challenged it every step of the way. And if the things he said sound alien to us, it's because we were never taught that. But when you look up the things this gentleman said, he didn't put forth one lie. He didn't twist not one truth. Look it up for yourself, and you can deem whoever you want to deem, whatever you want to deem them. You hear me? But this man researched. This man, it's so much I want to say. His research, everything he gave to the people trying to do this work, his literature, his books, the information, all these things that he put forth for us to continue. It's something that I can't measure it. You hear me? So again, if anybody's offended by anything you heard, I mean every word. Yeah. We out. This was Ancestor Speak 21. The great Dr. Walter Williams. May his soul rest. Yeah.